Hello, fellow Grumpies, and welcome to another episode of the Grumpy Dad Gamer. So, in this episode, I wanted to talk about a Nintendo Switch firmware update that I just found about this morning. So, I wanted to make a quick video about this. If we look back at the Switch 1, obviously, great system, great games, everything's been great about it, but it was always underpowered, it was slower than other systems, and towards the end of its life, it really started, getting bogged down because of its, hardware. Um, that's actually one of the reasons I upgraded to a Switch 2. Not to say that I'll never play a Switch Lite or my original Switch, more for portability or traveling. But I wanted more power, I wanted more snappiness, things like that. But one of the other criticisms that the Switch always had was its disgustingly bad, slow, horribly implemented eShop. And if you know, you know. It was always slow. Basically, you wouldn't be able to even browse properly over the eShop. You'd literally have to do everything through your phone. Otherwise, you'd be waiting with every screen that you'd push down. And as far back as I can remember, it was always bad. It was always a terrible interface, and it just made browsing games on the eShop like nearly impossible. And really, it pushed your limits in terms of your patience. So, of course, now it's 2026, and the Nintendo Switch has been out since 2017, over 9 years now. We're coming up to the 10th year soon. So, wouldn't you know, a new firmware update just came out this morning for both the Switch 2 and the Switch 1. And aside from the typical bug fixes and whatnot, apparently, from what I heard, it has completely changed. And I don't know if it's for both systems, but definitely for the Switch 1, it changed the eShop, the interface, and everything. And apparently, it's a lot better now. Uh, Better late than never. I mean, I don't think at this point I'm ever going to be on the eShop on my Switch 1. But if I only had a Switch 1 right now and that's all I had, and I wanted to go through the eShop, I think that's a win. So if we look at the eShop today and we open it up, yep. Oh, see, yeah, it won't even let me go in. I really wanted to compare it. I really wanted to see how slow of a shop it was before I do the update. If I click System Update, let's click Update. Console will restart once the update is complete. Any suspended software will be closed. Cool. Let's do it. All right, downloading. And so while it's doing its thing right now, it's pretty quick, so it's not too long. If you recall, it was always terrible. It would take forever to download stuff. It would take forever to browse through things. It would get stuck constantly. You would just sit there while it's loading all the icons for all the different games, and it would just make it so like almost impossible to browse through. So I would constantly, if I bought anything from the eShop, it would have to be from through my phone, because at least that way I'd be able to get through in a very snappy fashion. So it was a pain in the ass, and yeah, never dealt with the eShop natively through the actual Switch or Switch Lite. So now that it's updated, let's take a look. Okay, so that's new. The fact that it's saying Nintendo eShop, that's brand new. The Nintendo eShop has been updated. Okay, yeah, so this is starting to look a little bit like the Nintendo eShop on Switch 2, so it's very similar. Oh my god. Oh my god. This is day and night. Am I actually running from a Switch 1? Look at this. If you click on great deals, back in the day, you would scroll down, and at a certain point, it would stop, it would be like, loading, and it would take forever. Look at this. I'm scrolling. Yeah, it's definitely not as snappy as the Switch 2, but it's scrolling. Look at this. It's scrolling nicely, and I can keep going. Look at this. Let's keep going. I would never have been able to do this with the old eShop. This is incredible. It only took them 9 years, but they finally did it. And I thought Apple was slow in implementing new interfaces and technology. My God, 9 years later. But yeah, look at this. You can literally scroll through without being stuck. Look at this. And it keeps loading. Everything's loading. Look at this. And also the prices are loading very quickly. So I commend Nintendo. I mean, if you're still running from the original Switch, the Switch Lite, or even the Switch OLED, which has the old hardware, the old CPU and everything, yeah, this is a win-win for you. I mean, you're able to actually do this. So, I guess better late than never. But yeah, I was very interested in checking this out. Same with like searches. I don't want to filter it. Bestsellers will do from price from low to high, right? So it's going to be all these other vaporware and whatnot. But look at this. I can just keep going. And it just keeps going. I'm in shock. I've been dealing with this shitty interface for 9 years. Okay, cool. Well, that's it for this episode of the Grumpy Dad Gamer. Just wanted to quickly share this with you, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Make sure to subscribe, like, and share. Have a good one. Bye.